Hello, hello. Welcome, love you to lifers.
Stay here. Hi, guys.
Ah,
I'm here.
y'all. Hey, y'all. How y'all doing? We are so excited for y'all to come in today. We are talking about a topic that is near and dear to our heart today because we are mothers. We come from mothers. We are potentially giving birth to mothers. So we know a lot about motherhood. And just recently, we've been talking about this thing that goes along with motherhood that doesn't get enough conversation. And
That's for
since
sure.
we're recording this episode around Mother's Day, we thought, let's talk about the mental load as one of the things that makes motherhood not quite so enjoyable. Didn't I say that so nice and sweet? Didn't I say that so nice and sweet?
You did, which is why the people should be very concerned.
Here's the thing. Here's the premise of the episode, guys. Everybody talks, especially around Mother's Day, about how wonderful moms are and how
Mommy. I
um,
love you, Mommy.
and we look, Mother's Day and Easter are like the 2 days that everybody goes to church because everybody feel like they should go to church with their mom on Mother's Day or on Easter, what have you. And so like mothers get to go out to dinner and people do all these things for mom as if the other 364 days do not exist.
Correct.
But I want to have a conversation with the people because I think people do not talk enough about how you should enjoy motherhood. And the narratives around enjoying motherhood are very unrealistic for
You
the
think
average person. I totally do. I totally think this, like the narrative. Well, first of all, I don't think Instagram has helped. Let me just put that out there.
Instagram?
Instagram, Pinterest, all of them have made it seem like that
What the IG got to do with this?
they have made it seem like making a perfect lunch for your kid is a part of enjoying motherhood. I've never enjoyed a single solitary lunch I have made for my children.
Let me
So
tell you, I think that looks so cute when y'all do it, but it's not high on my priority list.
it's not. So I think we need to have an honest conversation because I think people expect motherhood to just be like fun and natural, but to actually enjoy your own experience of motherhood, I think that actually takes some work.
Right.
So
I agree.
my kids have this thing where they be like, Mom, I'm your favorite, right? Tell me I'm your favorite. We don't have to tell nobody else. And I'm like, listen, I have never had a favorite child. But on any given day, I don't like none of y'all. Like on any given day, I could like not like it. Now, I don't tell them like in the moment, like you doing I don't like today. But the truth is it happens, right? It happens. You raising 4 daughters. Everybody can get on my nerves at some point or another. So I
People need
love
to be
you and
honest
everything.
about that. People need to be honest about that. And I think I would add to it that also depending on the season that you're in with your child
Yes,
can also contribute to whether or not you really feel like you like this person or not. There
correct.
are some people who are going to be really, really strong in infancy and they're going to
Mhm,
struggle like the Dickens in teenagery, or
correct.
you really loved it when your child was a toddler, but you could not, you was in the tundra, in the deep dark tundra with infancy. You know what I'm saying? So
Correct.
depending on the season that a person is in with their kids, they need to be honest about that.
But you know what?
Without
Here's
that,
something I never really paid attention to before, and I am definitely paying attention to it now. When there is, I think there's certain parent child, mother daughter, mother son, whatever dynamics that naturally like flow together nicely, and there's other ones that are not necessarily super easy. So I think about like moms who are neurodivergent, or maybe an anxious mom, or maybe a mom who's more introverted. If you're a mom who's introverted and you have a child who's an extrovert, my God, today they want to do
ooh,
all the things and they want you to be right there with all the things. And you like, I want to be inside where my battery can recharge. And so I think that we don't talk enough about how like you as your person gets muted in motherhood. I don't think we talk
yeah,
enough about that. And so when women are silently having these feelings, they feel like there's something wrong with them. They feel like they've done like they're flawed, or like, they should be grateful for motherhood because everybody doesn't get this experience. But I just want to have some honest conversation. So if you love your kids, but sometimes you do not love the experience of mothering, this is the Mother's Day episode
for
for you.
you. Because we going to tell here. Cause here on the Love You to Life podcast.
Now listen, we cannot get through what this is 5 minutes. We can't get through 5 minutes of a podcast episode without a Cosby Show or Different World reference. She was referencing Different World before we even got on the episode, y'all.
And did, and did it, and did.
But I mean, if we being honest, I would
Yeah,
say Huxtable is probably one of those references of motherhood that to me was one of the most complete ones we got an example of.
right.
I didn't want to be Roseanne. I didn't want to be
Oh my gosh. Oh,
was fun.
wait.
Like the show was fun at first, but like
At the
in
beginning,
terms of
yeah.
like what whose show did I really want to, like, oh, this person has characteristics that I like. I loved that she had her career. I loved that she might be making dinner. I loved that she was in a professional place, but she come home, she was still who she is. I've been a mother for 30, almost 33 years, my God, today. I do not always love what motherhood asks of me. And I
Mm,
really do believe that being honest about all of the parts of that make me a better mom,
mhm.
particularly to women who may at some point choose to be a mom. So, what do you think about that?
I agree. I think, earlier when you said that depending on what your relationship, depending on what your child's personality is really how you said it. Your personality can be muted because you're trying to support your kid and you're trying to speak your kid's love language. And so I think that's definitely true. So if you are the mom who feels like your kid is so much like you, y'all two peas in a pod in a healthy way, great for you. But we also want to hold space for the mom who says, my God, I am on the struggle bus with this kid. And I'm using kid only to say your child because we
Right.
could be talking about your child in any age and any stage. If you 70 and your child 50, you might not like your
Mm.
50-year-old child's decisions. It's possible. It's
Lord, my
possible.
God, today, don't never let that be me, Jesus.
You could be 80 and be like, my child is 50 and they act like hell to me. Like, I don't, that's a
Mhm.
possibility. It's true. Because why would we assume that just because you're aging, it changes? I
Right.
don't think that's
Might
necessary
get worse.
because, right. It's so many different factors, in the EQ, the emotional intelligence of a person and the growth and development of a person. So that's possible. So yeah, I can totally see that. I think, um, speaking from the moms who took a long time to get to mommyhood, um, it's easy to feel guilty if you don't
Mm.
love every minute of it because
Mhm.
you feel like, well, I know for sure there are other women who want to be having this moment the same way I wanted to have this moment before and didn't have it. And then you also feel like, well, listen, I asked God for this thing. And so how could I not be like immensely super spiritual in this second and say, I love every moment of it?
Mhm.
And I think we have to be honest about it because when we are not honest, we don't heal.
Right.
And that's really all we're talking about. We're saying hold space for all of the truths that show up for you so that you can actually demonstrate for your child and model for your child what being a whole healthy adult looks like. And I think the whole healthy adult can look in the mirror and tell the truth about situations.
Right. And let's tell the truth about this.
Uh-oh.
Because I think part of what makes motherhood sometimes not enjoyable is the unseen labor
Called the mental load.
called the mental load. The mental load, we oftentimes think about all the things that we have to do in motherhood. Got to do the laundry, got to do the dishes, got to go pick up this kid, got to pick up that kid. It's time for a birthday party, time to get some nice hair. It's wash day. Somebody need me to order some new cleats. All that. It's not. It's not
Oh.
what you do. It's all the things that you have to think about that you
And how
ultimately end up doing.
how many times you thinking? It's the
So
number of thoughts.
it's the tracking, it's the anticipating, it's the planning, it's the organizing, it's the worrying, it's the remembering.
Mm, the remembering. How about that one?
You said like
What?
last time we were like, I've been trying to order groceries for 2 days. I was like, huh?
I have been trying. Listen, y'all, listen. I have been trying to order groceries for 2 days. Okay. What do you mean you're trying to order groceries, Liz? Why doesn't a person just order groceries? Because a person is sitting in a common area of the home and a person has a toddler. And the toddler comes over and says, not today, mommy. Not right now. The toddler says, "Let me just close your laptop." Click up. The toddler says, "What button is this? Let me push it." The toddler says, "Hold me." The toddler says, "I want to sit in your lap." Then your laptop and me can't fit. Like, so that really did happen 4 or 5 times, maybe 5 or 6 times between Sunday and Monday. Sunday, we're all home as a family and it was happening. And Monday, I was with her all by myself. So therefore, it was double time happening. So yes, I tried for 2 days to order groceries. My baby does not have no almond milk right now. And she ate her last piece
Mhm.
of her favorite sausage yesterday.
My lord,
What?
my lord.
Now here's the thing. I want you to ask me this. Do I feel guilty or bad about that?
Do
No.
you feel guilty or bad about that?
No. I did my best. I think I did what the situation required at the time. We have other food at the house. We're not gonna starve. We have stuff here. It may not be the prime time stuff that I wanted to have at this moment in the day as I'm recording the call, right? But the truth of the matter is that I did what I think I needed to do at the time. And
Right.
in that way, I wanted to meet her need in a particular way. And I did.
Right, which I think that's a good point too, because I if I'm thinking back to my experience of motherhood when my children were younger, I'm on the tail end.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't have nothing to say. It's just
I was just waiting. I was just waiting. I was just
people on the tail end, and I'm just getting started, y'all. This is a place to be. We probably need to do an episode about this. We probably need an episode for the 40 and over moms. Okay.
ooh. Well, see,
Yeah.
I have a good and I have a my I was born to a over 40 mom. So I mean I have that experience too. But anyway, we'll definitely if y'all want us to do that, drop it in the comments. Anyway, so I think I had so much of a mental load, it prevented me from being present. And I didn't
Mhm.
realize it as much as I do now because I think my kids have a different experience, and even my adult kids have a different experience of me now, which I'm grateful to have the opportunity to continue to do that, right? But when you are so busy trying to do everything perfectly, it removes you from being present. And
Mhm.
so even when you have an active co-parent, which you have an active co-parent, right? Even when you
But
have an active co-parent, which we are not all blessed to have, you
mhm.
still carry all this mental labor and it's invisible. Nobody sees it. I mean, it's probably one of the reasons why I enjoy having a paper planner because I like to see what I'm up against. Like it's not like I didn't always have I've always loved planners, but I didn't always like invest in one. But
Yeah.
when I take something out of my head, my kids be like, "Why can't you just tell me what you have to do tomorrow?" Girl, it's not here. It's there. It is there. It's not here. And the level of peace and freedom that gives me
Mhm.
there's just no way for me to even describe it, right?
Mhm.
So that invisible mental load, which is very hard to explain to people who haven't lived it, but it's also why you're exhausted and nothing really is wrong.
Right. Right. And the thing about it is, like, especially too, I think it's hard to explain to an even active partner because it's just something that they're not living. It's something that
Right.
they're not living, and you really can't describe it. And here's the other part about that mental load that we probably need to include here too, and that is the cultural expectations that you're
Mhm.
supposed to have the mental load. The cultural
Mhm.
expectation is that as the mom, you are supposed to be the only one doing some things. That as the mom, you're supposed to be the only one who can take the lead in this area. And I
Right.
think that it's really okay to have a relationship with a partner who is willing to divvy up that task, even if they don't do it like you.
Right. And here's the other thing. This is the one piece of the immigrant conversation that I have actually felt like was so mishandled in the media. Like it was super duper mishandled. I feel like it was absolutely her description of like the clips of it, super clickbaity, like very much. But they are very clear about, like her description of it. It's like, listen, nobody asked my husband why he doesn't know what the kids are supposed to have for the holiday party.
Right,
Nobody expects him to know
right.
that. Nobody's
Girl,
expecting him to open the email. Nobody's expected like if he comes like she said like she described in the book like Oh, Emma, we're so glad you were able to join us today. Like that little like, oh wow, you're doing pickup today. That's great. Oh wow, you're doing, like, did you do that to her daddy? Because normally it's the nanny. It's the nanny every day. So do you do that to the daddy when he come too? And we don't. And as she described it, it wasn't just from the teachers, it was from the other moms.
Yeah.
It was from everyone. And so we do have this overarching cultural expression in I don't know if it's in every country, but definitely in the United States, where the
Okay.
expectation is, oh, yeah, you're supposed to be doing all the things. And,
Mhm.
oh, yeah, you're supposed to navigate all of this. And that pressure to do that really can ruin your experience of motherhood, which I don't think enough people have really talked about. And unfortunately, I think sometimes kids internalize that. Like they internalize it if it's like, oh, my mom doesn't love me or my mom doesn't care about me and that kind of thing. They don't necessarily do it to the daddies, but it comes up that way. So, um, the problem isn't that people are not like that they're not necessarily getting help. The problem is that I have to tell you I need the help.
And whether or not whether and so many things go into that because it's also like, number 1, do you know you need the help? Have you accepted that it's okay to ask for help? Have you identified what you need help with so that you can even verbalize it to ask
Mm,
someone? And then are you willing to ask for help when that may not be something that's in your wheelhouse to do regularly?
that part.
Because you may have decided that your identity is that you're the person who can do all the things and make it look easy to do and do all the things well.
Right.
And that might prevent you from even asking. Right. So that asking for help part and receiving the help part is such a slippery slope for people, I think. If you're a high achieving, um,
Mhm.
person, you don't really wanna do that. You might agree to delegate some places in your professional life, but when it comes to your personal life, that might really be hard for you to do, to accept help in that area and to be willing to delegate. But let me tell you what I'm looking forward to.
Oh, this ought to be good.
I am looking forward to the first time my baby needs to take something, some kind of baked good or something to school, and we're gonna go to the bakery together and let her pick out which one she wants to get for her class.
Mm.
Yes. Poo-poo, which one you want, baby? Do you want the purple one, the pink one, the yellow ones? Do you want the cookies, the cupcakes? What do you want to take? I'm so excited for you. We get to take it to school. Yes, because mommy ain't baking it.
Uh, and see, and y'all, this is why I'm looking shady over here
What?
when you watch the video of this. I'm looking
What?
shady because my high schooler just had a pitch in last week, okay? And I would have been more than happy to buy something. And she's like, you have to make ham, mom. Ham?
Ham.
I
That
felt
child
like the festival. What?
ham.
No, ham? She's like, yeah, and lo and behold, she's like, we had that whole ham in the freezer, pull the ham out. And I was like, okay, that's probably fine. Hey, it's there. I don't really need it for nothing. I didn't make ham for Easter, basically. So I bought a ham, decided not to make ham because I didn't care. That's how I am. That's where I'm at. That's what this season of motherhood looks like. It's food in
Listen,
there.
we can have pizza for Easter as far as I'm concerned.
Amen walls. Okay, so so she says, and you have to make sure you make it good. First of all, you should know two things about that. I ain't never made a bad ham in my life. That's
Because I don't eat ham anymore, really. I don't no, I don't eat ham anymore. But her ham was always good. You did make a good ham.
number two. Why would I not make a good? I mean, like, what? It's like, what's the question here? First of all, how do you make a bad ham, and why would I make a bad? And here's the
Now,
thing that you need to know
how to
about
make
it.
a ham. Some people know how to make a bad ham, ma'am. Pause. Some people know how to make a bad ham. You
Y'all
think
tell us
everybody
in the comments. Well,
ham?
how do you make a bad ham? And wait.
What do you
I'm
mean?
thinking
What?
about Josh. I'm thinking about Josh Mama on TikTok. She probably can figure out how to make a bad
I
ham.
don't know if I know those people. Do I know those people on TikTok? I don't know if I do.
If you
Do I know?
don't, just look it up. Y'all know Josh. The listeners know Josh Mama. She's like the sweetest woman. But man, some of the concoctions she comes up with, my lord.
She okay, so she can make a bad ham. But I think the ham need to be like moist, like tender, fall off the bone kind of a thing. It need to be flavorful. You think everybody makes a flavorful ham? I don't think they do. But
I
again,
mean,
I
but
don't
I
eat.
guess in our family, I've probably been on only for any holiday function we've had for probably the past 15 years. I've been the only person to make the ham. So
Oh
I
yeah,
guess I don't really know. That's and I never buy like if I were even go to a buffet or something, I'm not getting nobody else ham because I don't want nobody else ham. Anyway, what you should know, the point is, my daughter don't like ham. She
See
wanted
that?
me to make ham from like I'm saying from scratch. So she wanted me to make it at home, even though she wasn't gonna eat it because she wanted to make sure that it was good enough for her friends.
Mhm.
So I hope this Sunny Grace will allow you to buy something from the bakery.
Well, here's the thing, I'm not opposed to making whatever I think my specialty is from time to time for her to take to her class or for something special for her or something like that. But I'm just using it as an example to say I'm not tied to that as a part of my identity.
Right.
And, there are some things I really do wanna be there for or some things I really wanna do and experience with her, but I am not under the impression that I can do every single thing,
Right.
uh, every single time, right? And I don't think that that diminishes or decreases my value as a mom.
Right.
Conversation we need to have more often. So one of my colleagues in the Goldman Sachs program, she says, we don't do mom guilt. Like that's not even something that she believes in. She's like, this phrase that somebody
Right.
came up with, I don't even use it. So I just want to encourage moms in this podcast episode to look over their lives and give themselves credit for what they really done well and areas where they think they could have improved. I mean, maybe that's possible that they could have, but don't let it come down to like tick marks about
Mhm.
what you think you were supposed to do because
Mhm.
somebody else did it or because somebody told you that's the way it was supposed to go.
Right. And I think that the part of that too that I think is very relevant, specifically related to the mental load, it's okay for you to outsource parts of this story, right? Parts of this just it's just not my story. Like that I don't, and to prioritize the ones that are. Like you have permission to make this motherhood journey look like what you want it to look like. Like yes, I at this like for example, I don't want to learn how to do hair. Maybe you say that person. I don't want to learn how to do hair. Like we a lot of times we'll talk about particularly like with white moms that have biracial kids like you got to learn how to do hair. And I think there's a certain level of that you need to have some basic skills, right? But a lot of black moms don't know how to put no singles in their child hair, so why the white girl gotta know how to do it? She don't.
I know singles. I don't know how to French braid though.
So but here's what you gotta do. You gotta be willing to take care of your child's hair. You gotta be
Exactly.
willing to take her where she needs it to get it,
Exactly.
get the right products, show her some basic maintenance. Like there's some things you do need to be able to do. But do you gotta burn in it? No, you don't. So you get to decide, like the mental load is just placed on you automatically. You come out with a uterus, boom, it's on you. You didn't ask for it. And sometimes
Mhm.
where they're like I really made this point with my kids. Like they'll say, like, well, I don't want no kids. I'm like, okay, maybe you do, maybe you don't. I po- it's fine with me either way,
Right.
but this
Right.
expectation that, oh, you have a uterus, you have to be a mom. No, you don't.
No,
No, you
you
don't.
don't. No, you don't.
And whatever your journey to motherhood looks like, it's your journey to motherhood.
Right.
If you choose to take it.
Right.
So when it comes to the mental load, I just want you to get curious about what part am I putting on me that ain't even mine to carry? What
Mhm.
have I decided is my story that doesn't have to be? What am I choosing that I can completely release? Like what am I believing that is not actually a fact?
Mhm.
That would make motherhood for so many people exponentially more enjoyable, more than any stupid
What?
more than any stupid flowers that's gonna die next week, more than them cupcakes that's gonna be calories you don't even need. You taking the time to actually decide, this is what I want my experience of motherhood to be. This I'm prioritizing, this I'm letting go. That magical.
Yeah. So that brings me back to a conversation you and I had earlier, I don't know, last week or so. And I was talking about like the decision I made to, in some ways, share my baby with other people that I love and that I know love her.
Right.
So I really did acknowledge, like, it is too much for one person to think they can carry the mental load and the way we have been conditioned to carry it. And it is okay to receive help. And I'm still learning in some areas where I could take more help on, but I think I've
Mhm.
done a really good job about like, this is okay with me that I received this help in this way.
Right.
So, like I remember my daughter's first bath was given to her by her auntie, my husband's sister, and I didn't give her her first bath. And she looked at me, she's like, "Don't you wanna give her her first bath?" And I was like, "No, I'm okay." I know you love her. I know you're excited about giving her a bath. I'm sitting right here. I took great pictures of her TT giving her bath. Now, had I been the person who said I wanted to do it, then I would have done it. But I
Right.
didn't have any sort of belief about that I have to do it. I'm the mama and I have to give her the first bath and this is the way it has to go. And I think we can look over our lives and say like, who is in my circle that I love and trust that has a little extra juice right now that can jump in and
Mm.
support me because they're in a different season of life than I'm in. Whether they're just a little bit ahead of me because their kids are a little bit older, or because they are childless right now because they choose to be, or because of circumstance, like whatever that is, or because they're aging and their kids are grown, whatever it is, right? Can I receive that? And I just got such a kick out of watching my sister-in-law give her a bath. She loved doing it. And
Mhm.
it's something that she got to do. It's her first niece or nephew. And she got to do that. And I love that for her.
Right. And you felt no type of way about it because you had already decided what your experience of motherhood was gonna be, and it
Yes.
wasn't like the idea that you can have these desires is good, but it shouldn't be a chain. It shouldn't be like a handcuff. I think so many of us are handcuffed to this version of motherhood that we didn't even want anyway, and
Right.
judging ourselves by it and all those different things. And it's just it needs to stop. It just needs to
Yeah.
stop. It needs to be like so 2008, 2008. We over it.
Oh, Lord.
And I'm gonna tell you what else needs to be 2008.
Uh-oh. What is that?
The idea that resources are a luxury when you're in motherhood. There was a
Mm,
TikTok that I saw, and I was like, I'm saving it because I'm talking to the Love You to Lifers about it because it needs to be had.
what?
This conversation needs to be had. She said, we just need to get honest about the fact that having money makes motherhood better.
Oh, tell the truth, somebody. Tell the truth, somebody.
I said, you know what? And it does. And it does. Because I was a good mom while I was broke, but it's a heck of a lot nicer over here.
Yeah.
It's a much better look, it's a wonderful life over here because there's just so many things that from access to opportunity to support that are made easier with resources, which is why I am so adamant and so passionate about women having economic freedom,
Right.
having opportunity to advance their careers and whatever that needs to look like. Because you've been taught that it's the love that matters. Just love your children.
Who said that? Who said that like that? Who said you
Lies, they do.
said that
And
just left your children? Who
not
said
this is not shade or tea to anybody that wants to be a stay-at-home mom because I was a stay-at-home mom for a period of time, and it actually was beneficial for my family, right? But if you wanna be a stay-at-home mom and it puts economic pressure on the family, that matters, and I need people to acknowledge that sometimes you may not be getting rich by working while your kids are young because of all the expenses of childcare and what have you, but it's not this trade-off that we wanna pretend like, "Oh, when you come home, everything is better." No, it's not necessarily, because if there's economic pressure, if
yeah.
dad is can't be present because he's working, 70 hours a week, there's a trade-off that I don't think enough people pay attention to, and
Mhm.
not even just because of the financial piece, but maybe mom needs a connection to people outside of her house to feel good as a human being.
Right.
So we have to get really honest about having these different resources. It's not a luxury. It is a necessity, and it actually does make your experience of motherhood better. So when you're looking at like counting up the cost of things, maintaining that a little extra coin.
Yeah, I'm here for it. That was one of the things that I was that helped me to actually make peace with being an older mom was that I was going to have more resources at this season of life than
Right.
I did, had we had the baby earlier. Um and so I think I shared with you yesterday how I'm so excited that I'm picking up Chipotle today for dinner. Like yes, I told my husband, I said, "Hey, I'm picking up Chipotle. We're gonna have Chipotle for dinner for 2 or 3 days or whatever. And, I'm gonna do the catering thing." And I loved the fact that now deciding what we were gonna eat and how I was gonna prepare it and when I was gonna cook it was no longer on my to-do list for 2 or 3 days. And I do that from time to time, but I legitimately said this week, "Okay, I know I have these different things I needed to do for my business this week, and I have baby girl, these particular days, and football's kinda kicking up again." We just got through the draft season, all that kind of stuff. And so I'm like, hey, what am I willing to take off of my plate? What am I willing to remove from my mental load so that I can be present in another way in some of the other spaces of my world? And it was preparing family meals. And so I'm gonna pick up Chipotle, the catering option, and we're gonna eat that. And if you don't like leftovers, that don't work for you. But we're a fine leftover family. And it is so wonderful that I don't have to stop. I don't have to cook. I don't have to go. I didn't get the groceries ordered. So I don't have to go and get the groceries. Right. Right. I just get to fix my plate. He gets to fix his plate. We already got baby girl's plate covered. Right. Like, and I love that for me. And if I didn't have the resources, I couldn't do it. Now there may be some other ways to do that depending on what your budget is. And so
Right.
I just want to give folks the idea to consider that it can be done differently. And so one of the things we're talking about in this conversation a lot around women, childbearing, workplace responsibilities, all that kind of stuff is just like uh can you have it all at the same time? People keep having that question about can you do it all? Can you have it all?
Mhm,
And I
mhm,
have accepted that all is defined differently than it probably would have been for
mhm.
me before. All might have meant before that I was going to actually be physically doing all the things, and all to me now means that I have the ability to outsource some things, delegate some things, and use my resources appropriately to get some things in the house. And I love that for me. And so I just hope other people do it too.
Yeah, and what that really means to me is, like, the beliefs that you have about motherhood
Mhm.
really do have a huge impact on your experience of motherhood.
Mhm.
And for most of us, from the moment you got your first baby down when you were 2 or 3 years old, right? You were starting to form those beliefs about motherhood.
Right.
And most of us haven't really, if we're being honest, explored what we actually believe. Like, we're just like, this is what it is. You do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. There's this
Mm.
expectation. And what if we don't want it to be that?
Mhm.
What if we want it to be something different? And it can be different in different seasons. So for me, one of the things that I have noticed, and I said this the other day, I was like, one of my kids is like having a little mood or something. And so we had a conversation. And normally I'd have been like, "Oh, I gotta explain this to you and I gotta talk it through and I gotta make sure you get it and make sure you understand it and blah, 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 blah." And so I made a very like gentle statement, like, "Hey, this is what it is. You can do, here are your choices. You can do this or you can do that, whatever." But I just let it ride. Right now, mind you, I
Mhm.
have teenagers, okay, and I have adults, so I don't have toddlers, who need 77 reminders. I have growing people, and maybe 2 or 3 hours later, she comes back and she's like, "Mom, I'm sorry. I was rude. I shouldn't like, I was in a mood," and I was like, "You mean tell me all them conversations that I had for hours and hours was what? You mean tell me I could have been just said and let it go?"
You could have been doing that.
This expectation that we have to do more, go farther,
Oh,
read every single book, listen to every single podcast. Like, our mothers were not doing that.
right. Right.
And we can say what we want to say about whether or not they did a great job. Some of them did okay, some of them needed some work, right? But I'm just
Yes.
saying, like, what we have decided as a society right now is that women should be home and working. They should
Oh,
be perfect at motherhood, and people talk about motherhood, but never talk about motherhood in the workplace. It's like, how are we supposed to do all the things?
look, that's for you. Look,
Guys,
did
guys,
that.
when
You
you see it, when you see this episode on YouTube, guys,
said that. Yeah.
I just want us to question our beliefs about motherhood. I
Right.
want us to question what it means. Like, what, because like there's some stuff that we say, like, as a mother, I stay 10 toes down on this, right? And I'm not letting it go. And there's still some things I like. I don't care. Look, I don't care who would say. There could be some research to say this is wrong. I'm going to keep doing it the way I want to do it. But
Right.
other things, I think that there's some value in questioning what you believe about motherhood and whether or not it serves you as an individual. Do you have a belief that you feel like you maybe had before you were a mom that now you know, like, oh, that's not for me?
Um, I don't know if I have a belief that I changed since I'm now a mom. I only thing I can tell you is that I am uh going further and further and further away from like the influencer model of being a mom. That's all I can say. Like I
Mhm.
don't like I am not at all concerned that every single time she's around the house, she gotta be in this little perfect outfit, or that if you see her, her
Mm,
hair has to be all her parts have to be straight every single time. Like, I tease myself about the fact that sometimes her parts are crooked. Now, don't get me wrong, my baby gonna be cute when you see her. If you see her, she's probably gonna be looking cute. But like some of the things that I probably would have been in knots about is not
mhm,
something that I do now at
mhm.
all. So if she gets messy, if she plays in the dirt, like all those kind of things, I think earlier in my life I would have probably been like, oh my God, and now it's not like that at all. So when she's really doing her thing, I just kind of get tickled. It just makes me laugh when she's just doing her thing.
Ooh, child, we be singing so tickled. My Lord would be so tickled. Jesus.
Like, I just kinda get tickled, you know? But here's where I had to go with that, obviously, as a coach who works with high achieving women, I'm always working to help women let go of those things, right? And so, I do that for myself so that I can help more people do it. I
Mm,
had to identify what works and what doesn't, and why it works and why it doesn't, and what belief went with it. Um our mom is the kind of person who raised us to really care about what people think. Like that, like if somebody said to us, "Oh, your dress is so pretty," we had to say, "Thank you for the compliment." Like, I mean, I want my baby to be able to say thank you when she receives a compliment, but it doesn't have to be this whole like little polished kind of a thing. I don't expect that she's never gonna have a tantrum. And if she does, I'm not gonna be in no fetal position because she showed out in front of somebody. Like that's what it's developmental, that's what kids do, So I had really made peace with like, hey, life is messy. And
mhm.
everything doesn't fit in this particular box. And my experience being a mom doesn't fit in a box either. I'm already unconventional having a mom at this time in my life anyway. So, like,
Right.
why I try to put myself in a box? Now, here's one thing I will say about my before to my after, and that is that in order to get through the season of infertility in my life, I had to hold on to the promise of God that He made me the joyful mother of children. I
Mhm.
had to have that even before I got pregnant. I had to say, "I am her. I am the joyful mother of children." So now on the other side of it, when I actually literally do have my baby here, I remember that as a part of this is my experience that I'm a joyful mother of children. And whenever I feel like my joy is being impacted, then
Mhm.
I'm going back and I'm saying, "Hey, what's messing with your joy, sweet girl? What's going on with your joy? Can you
Right.
why do you not feel that joyfulness right now? Oh, is it because you didn't ask for help? Oh, is it because you have too much on your plate? Oh, is it because you're living with an expectation, trying to fulfill the expectation that you don't have to?" If that shows up, then I let those things go because I'm locked in to being a joyful mother of children for whatever the season and stage of my child's existence is.
Here's the memory that and you might not even know that this happened. I
Wh-
remember when one of my children, I like to maintain my children's anonymity anytime there's a story that might not be
Oh
might not
Lord,
be particularly pleasing to them. But
I don't know.
so
Well, yeah.
I don't know that this child I don't know if this child would actually care about it. But anyway, so when one of my children was about two and a half or three, I can remember we were in my brother's house for a family event. I'm using my words carefully because I don't want to give away nobody's story. But
Okay.
this child had a tantrum, right? She's 2 or 3 years old, totally developmentally appropriate. We had traveled. Schedule was all off. So all the things that I know now, like every single thing that will put a child in a perfect position to have a
A full month.
tantrum, ha-
Yes.
every single one of them happened. And I distinctly, so I had taken her into the bathroom to like help her calm
We
down. And at that point, I probably didn't even have enough skills to help her calm down. But I just knew like there's so much going on. Let me take her out of this space. And I can remember our mother knocking on the door,
oh, she
telling me that I needed to, get her quiet. And I'm like, what do you think I'm doing, lady? But when you said that her belief about motherhood was that tantrums were bad, or that it was my job to keep her quiet, or that the child shouldn't be disrupting the environment, all
Mhm,
those different things. And at
mhm.
that time, I didn't even realize that's what was happening, right? Like I didn't realize what that was. And so it's very easy for you to get caught up in like somebody else's beliefs impacting you. And I think in that moment I ended up leaving the bathroom and taking her outside and it was fine. But um my mom was feeling the pressure of like she was being judged because my child wasn't behaving properly. And that
Yeah,
so like that it's like there's layers to this,
yeah.
and the mother who hasn't had this conversation or hasn't had this thought. And when we look at social media, you have one version of a mom that looks perfect and another and you're like, "Oh my gosh, she's terrible." And so you have all these different things, but I always think like, "Oh, there's such a story. There's got to be a story behind that. There's a belief system behind that. There's an experience behind that." And so
Mhm.
we just want you to be able to enjoy motherhood as much as you possibly can because it's something that you've chosen to do. And this is for people who've chosen to do it and have the ability to do so. We want you to be able to enjoy it as much as you can. And we fully believe that that means that you're going to have to make some conscious decisions about how you do it because we don't live in a society that is going to try and make it easy for you.
No, not at all. Not at all. Our society has not, honestly, having this conversation is enough, I don't think. I don't think we're talking about it enough. And the
Yeah.
thing that we didn't even really get into is even the differences in the race and ethnicity factors regarding
Mm.
mothering and expectation and all of that. So, we can save that for another combo because I think we've done this one pretty well, but yeah, we just wanna hold space for your experience the way you need to do it so that you can enjoy your experience of mothering. And I wanna offer that if you don't wanna be with your kids on Mother's Day, tell somebody. If what you want from Mother's Day is to be left the Hell, if you wanna be left alone, tell somebody. If you
I
don't
tell
wanna
my kids that every year, and they be like, "Mom, don't you?" Now listen, 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 listen.
no, leave me alone.
I love the 24 hours
Yeah.
that y'all don't ask me for
For
nothing.
anything, right. If that's
I'm
what
a
you want.
single mother. I've been a single mother for some years now. I was a married single mother for some years. I love and it's not that y'all can't come see me or can't call and say hi. Any of those things. It's just like nobody needs anything from me. I had
Right.
one of my kids now sends me DoorDash for Mother's Day.
I love it.
You know? And one of my kids is in another country, like, so I have a child that lives, overseas, and so she is like, she's on a totally different time zone, like, and I have, I'm almost to the place where I can, like, really know what time it is where she is. She's like, "What if we do, like, a quick, do a call for Mother's Day? It'll be on Saturday," which would have been totally fine for me if she'd have done it on Sunday and it was Monday her time. Wouldn't have made no difference for me, but she so she co so she coordinated the time for me so that
Yeah,
I would know what time it is, and that works for me. So
yeah.
we don't have to do no big elaborate anything, a 10-minute phone call so I can catch up, FaceTime, whatever. Do you, and don't let anybody convince you that you're not allowed to have your own experience of motherhood. But ultimately, what we wanna leave you with today is, what do you want your experience of motherhood to be?
Mhm.
What beliefs are no longer serving you? Which beliefs do you wanna leave behind? And what do you want to what story do you wanna write for your motherhood journey? We want you to be intentional with that. We hope we've given you some maybe a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of guidance and support about how to get there. But we definitely want you to have the experience of motherhood that you desire because you deserve that. You absolutely deserve that.
I agree. And for all the women who are not gonna celebrate Mother's Day in a traditional sense this year because you are, childless, because you are going through infertility, because you're not going to have children, because you're the fantastic auntie, because you're the great godmother, because you are the wonderful foster parent. Whatever your story is, we hold space for you and hope that you have a great day too.
All right, y'all. That's our episode. That's our Mother's Day episode. We love y'all so, so much. And we will see you next time.
Bye.